Is this a running shoe or a lifting shoe? Today we discuss. Today we're reviewing the Topo ST-6. What's up everybody, I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod, and you're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review hybrid shoes? If it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice some timestamps below. Feel free to jump around to the various parts of this video, but if you do so, I'd sure appreciate if you come back, watch the full video when you get a sec, because I put a lot of time and effort into these. Now, quick disclaimers and disclosures. I did get the shoe from Topo for free for the purpose of review. That being said, I'm not paid, I'm not given talk tracks, talking points. I'm not actually obligated to make any specific content. No one watches the videos beforehand, and all thoughts are entirely my own. With that out of the way, let's talk about the intended use of this shoe. So this is the ST-6, and this is going to be a weightlifting, running kind of hybrid shoe. So full disclosure, I have not put 30 plus miles on the shoe like I normally do for review, and there's a couple of reasons for that, which I'll discuss. The main one being that this is a shoe that isn't necessarily, in my mind, built for bulk miles, unless you're a very specific type of person who is like really likes minimal or barefoot style running shoes. So this is going to be a shoe though that is built to be very minimal, so that you can lift in it, so that you get the stable base, as well as with a foam that still gives a little bit of bounce that is going to allow you to get some miles in. So let's talk about some of the specs and everything, but we'll start with the price. The shoe comes in at $120. So nice, affordable, and high quality for that price. Topo is a brand that I feel like doesn't get a lot of fanfare. I think when it comes to like zero drop or foot-shaped toe boxes, most people think Ultra just because they've been around for longer, or really kind of push the zero drop thing for a long time. But Topo, like every single product that they make that I've tried, very high quality. They put a lot of care and love and care into their product. So really great at that price point. You get a shoe that you can lift in and potentially run in as well. Now, from a specs perspective, the shoe comes in at 14 millimeters in the heel, 14 millimeters in the forefoot for a zero drop. Right, so this is a zero drop shoe. You can see it is pretty much completely flat there, right? Other than a slight, other than a slight sidewall, but the actual internal drop of the shoe is zero. From a weight perspective, the shoe comes in at, I wrote it down, 6.6 ounces, which is 187 grams. So super light. It's just a very minimal shoe. Again, not quite barefoot because there is some cushion underfoot, but pretty much in that same vein or line of thinking. Now the fit of the shoe is going to be wide throughout, wide toe box, wide midfoot, wide heel, and it is true to size lengthwise. So, that's one of the big things with Topo. They are a big, wide toe box brand, and they're actually not exclusively zero drop, by the way. Topo has, I think, 0, 3, and 5 millimeter drops. I don't believe they go over 5, but that's one of the things that does differentiate them from some of the other wide toe box brands that are strictly zero drop. Well, Topo does a little bit of everything. They're not fully committed just to the zero drop, but this being a weightlifting shoe and running shoe, they wanted that stable base. Now the upper is a recycled mesh, which is really cool, and it's just a very lightweight, breathable upper. Now I've worked out or run or lifted in some other like zero drop style barefoot shoes. The Merrell Vapor Glove is one that, if you've watched my videos for a while, that's a shoe that I have actually done a lot of lifting in. I really like, when I am deadlifting, to have either barefoot or barefoot kind of style shoes, because I feel like I can just get better connected to the ground. I like that flat base. One issue I have with that kind of shoe is sometimes you can't get really good lockdown, or you feel like it's weird, like a minimal shoe like that. It's just, since they're trying to stay as minimal as possible, I can't really get my foot connected to it. The Topo ST-6, I feel like I get good lockdown there. It's not a gusseted tongue, but it's a very lightweight tongue, and there's not a ton of extra material, so you can cinch down pretty good and just get that lockdown that you need, because especially if you're lifting at an angle, if you're on a wedge or anything, you don't want to be sliding forward in the shoe. And if you're going to be doing some running in the shoe, you also want to be able to stay locked in. Right. Another cool thing is that they designed it so that the heel collapses, right? They designed it to be able to do that. You can see just kind of with some of the overlays how they come here. And that's specifically so that it can fit in like a backpack or like a travel bag or something really easily, where like that shouldn't really take up any space, which is super nice because you can just throw them into the bottom of a bag. In the past, I have not brought lifting shoes with me if I'm going on a trip because it's just too many pairs of shoes. Obviously I'm bringing multiple pairs of running shoes, but this could be a good option where you just, you can even put them in like your backpack, like the bottle holder or something on the side, right? So pretty nice there. There is a little bit of protection, like they do have a toe cap, right? You also have the rubber come up a little bit, but I think most people, keyword on most, not all, but most people who are going to be using the shoe are likely like me, where they're maybe using it strictly indoors at the gym, and so they're probably not running outside, so that protection is not too much of a concern for me. Now, the midsole is zip foam. I believe zip foam is an EVA-based foam, and it is, you know, it's got a surprising amount of pop, but in the couple of runs that I've done in the shoe, and really that's just a couple of miles before I do my lift, which to me is like the perfect use case for a shoe like this, you know, you get a little bit of bounce. You do get a little bit of energy return, but there's not really enough underfoot in this shoe to where I'm really getting like a responsive ride. The big thing with this is like the natural feeling of the ground, which you very much do get when you are running in it, right? You can feel pretty much everything. You know, there's enough that it does protect your feet for anything, but like, especially compared to the large majority of running shoes nowadays, like the ground feel is going to be significantly more in this shoe than others, right? That being said, very wide base, so very, very stable, which is nice. And, you know, it's just enough that, you know, you feel good. Now, zero drop, though, for me, like, I'm not anti-zero drop. I am just not someone who believes that zero drop is necessary, nor do I believe that, like, zero drop is going to fix everything, or everyone should just be converted to zero drop, right? I've read Board to Run. Zero drop is not the solution to everything. It's also not like a straight path to injury as some other people believe. I believe that zero drop is like any other drop, and that it comes down to preference, right? It comes down to the needs that of your legs and what kind of support you need. For me, I feel the strain on my calf and Achilles when I run in zero drop, right? Because I don't have, like, I'm used to running at a slight wedge. Most running shoes do have a drop, whether that's 3 all the way up to 12, right? So to be at 0, I do feel it. So I like it in my rotation. I like something like this to be able to give me a little bit of exposure. But if you are thinking of transitioning to zero drop, just be aware that it will overload your calf and Achilles if you don't utilize an acclimation period, and you just want to transition to that over time. So I like the idea of having something like this in my rotation, even just walking at zero drop, because even most casual shoes are going to have a drop. It's going to make a difference just in the general way that you are working your muscles in your lower limbs. So moving to the outsole, I'm not sure the compound, but you do have a nice rubber coverage, and this is important, right, because you want to be able to grip the ground, right? So it does a really good job. Again, I was doing some lifting at an angle. I was doing calf raises, different things where, you know, you don't want your toes and your feet to be slipping. You need to be actively gripping the ground, not sliding around when you got you're lifting with heavy weights. So overall, I do think the outsole does a good job of gripping as necessary, but not adding a ton of extra weight to the shoe from a running perspective. So yeah, just, you know, who's it for? People like me, right? People like me who oftentimes run and lift, which should be every runner, to be honest, right? To what extent you lift, completely up to you, but every runner should lift in some way, right? So this is great if you're just gonna do, because like I always like to get the blood flowing, so I like to, you know, whether it's just biking for 10 minutes or doing like a quick mile on the treadmill, get the blood flowing, get that, you know, internal temperature raised. It's great because I can just throw this on. I don't need to then change my shoes to get my lift in. I can do leg day, I can do upper body day, whatever in this shoe, and it works really, really well for that. So that's where I like it, and I really, again, I like to lift, especially deadlift in this style shoe. So I think that this really, you know, checks the box for that group. That's probably who wants it. Those who are interested in the barefoot movement, this could be a really good transition to a true barefoot shoe with no support underneath, right? Because this has minimal support, but it's not going to be zero. So you can kind of go from this, from like regular running shoes to this, and then from this to like even like running sandals. I have seen some people who use running sandals and whatnot. This could be that nice, easy transition into something like that. So kind of your middle tier shoe. But overall, you know, I think that there's a variety of uses, but I really like it for a shoe that I can get a quick mile in and then get my lift in. So just some final thoughts. Again, Topo, really, really cool. Obviously, this is not something I would normally review. It's not like a traditional running shoe in a sense, but I really, really appreciate them sending this over, and I really like shoes like this. I don't put bulk miles on them. I will get 30 plus miles on them eventually. It just takes me a while because I'm only maybe doing, you know, max like 3 miles or something in this shoe during a week. So it takes me, you know, 10 to 12 weeks to be able to get to the point where I would normally review it. But I did want to talk about it because I'm probably not going to be taking it out for anything longer than 2 miles. Just wanted to highlight kind of some of the features and how I'm using this type of shoe. So if you watched this far, I sure appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what questions you have about the ST-6 or what I could be doing better in each and every one of my videos to make them more entertaining for each and every one of you. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that now and turn on those notifications. And if you'd like to support the channel, please consider using any of the affiliate links in the description below. I've got affiliate links to Fuel Goods as well as Wallaco. Rad Dad gets you 10% off at Fuel Goods, and Rad Dad 20 gets you 20% off at Wallaco. So take advantage of those discounts. The kickbacks come back to the channel as well, which I invest directly into to be able to make better content for each and every one of you. Now, just to wrap up, I'm going to leave you guys with a question, which is, have you tried zero drop before? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.